When The Outlaw hit the big screen in 1943, it didn't just test the limits of the Western genre, it shattered Hollywood's moral code and ignited one of the most scandalous battles in cinema history. At the center of it all were two names, Howard Hughes and Jane Russell. One was a billionaire obsessed with engineering perfection, and the other was a 19-year-old bombshell with curves that would send censors into a frenzy. But this wasn't just a movie. It was a war with America's sense of decency, and Howard Hughes was ready for battle. The plot of The Outlaw is loosely based on the lives of three Old West legends, Billy the Kid, Doc Holliday, and Pat Garrett. The story begins with Billy the Kid, played by Jack Butel, stumbling upon Doc Holliday's stolen horse. The two men strike up an uneasy friendship, which only gets more complicated when Pat Garrett, Thomas Mitchell, enters the fray, determined to bring Billy to justice. But, let's be honest, no one was flocking to theaters for the story of gunslingers and old grudges. They came for Jane Russell, who played Rio, a fiery love interest caught in the middle of the chaos. Howard Hughes, the film's director and producer, wasn't just interested in telling a Western tale. He wanted The Outlaw to be a sensation, and he knew exactly how to do it. Hughes had a reputation for precision and perfection. He was an aviation mogul who once designed planes that broke world records. So, when it came to showcasing Jane Russell's assets, Hughes approached it like an engineer. He famously designed a cantilevered bra for Russell, an undergarment engineered to amplify her cleavage in a way that Hollywood had never seen before. Hughes even went so far as to sketch out the design himself, using metal rods and strategic padding to defy gravity. He claimed it would make her hang just right for the camera. The idea was so absurd that Russell reportedly never wore it during filming, opting instead for her own more comfortable bra, padded with tissues to mimic Hughes's grand design. She would later joke that Hughes could design planes, but bras were clearly out of his expertise. The real trouble began when Hughes tried to release The Outlaw. The film was completed in 1941, but it would take 5 long years of legal battles, censorship issues, and public outrage before it got a proper nationwide release. The Production Code Administration, PCA, Hollywood's strict moral gatekeeper, took one look at Russell's low-cut blouses and seductive lounging and slammed the door shut. They refused to certify the film unless Hughes agreed to make substantial cuts. Hughes, however, wasn't the type to back down. Rather than compromise his vision, he leaned into the controversy. He engineered a nationwide publicity campaign that was as bold as it was scandalous. Billboards appeared across the country with Jane Russell sprawled out in the hay, her neckline plunging in a way that made conservative groups seethe. One ad famously read, "How would you like to tussle with Russell?" The Motion Picture Council of San Francisco even sent letters demanding the billboards be taken down, calling them very disgusting. Hughes's response? He put up more billboards. But Hughes didn't stop at billboards and magazine covers. His obsession with The Outlaw's success led him to push boundaries in truly unorthodox ways. In one instance, he orchestrated a publicity stunt involving a fake protest. Hughes hired young women to picket outside theaters, holding signs that criticized the film's indecency while dressed provocatively to draw attention. Crowds gathered, the press took notice, and ticket sales surged. Hughes understood that in Hollywood, scandal was just another word for free advertising. The Outlaw technically premiered in San Francisco in 1943, but it was a limited release, a test to see just how much he could get away with. Hughes pulled the film from theaters almost immediately, claiming it needed more edits. But this was just a clever game of cat and mouse with the censors. He would re-release it for brief stints, generating just enough controversy to keep the public's curiosity alive. While the film sat in release limbo, Hughes focused his attention on building Jane Russell into a household name. He arranged photo shoots, magazine covers, and endless promotional stunts that cemented her status as Hollywood's new sex symbol before the majority of the country had even seen her act. Before we continue, a quick shout out to Perfect Fifth. They've got some incredible old school music inspired graphic tees like this VU meter design capturing that perfect analog vibe, or this melting vinyl sunset, a minimalist ode to the golden era of vinyl. And this Star Strings and Stripes, a rock and roll twist that's perfect for the Patriots. And for Golden Throwback viewers, they're giving you an exclusive 20% off with the code THROWBACK20. Check out the link in the description. Now, back to the video. By the time the film finally hit nationwide theaters in 1946, Jane Russell was already famous, and Hughes's engineered controversy had paid off. But Hughes's fight with the censors didn't end there. The Catholic Legion of Decency condemned the film outright, demanding boycotts from its followers. The MPAA refused to give it a certificate, labeling it too provocative for general audiences. And in Maryland, a judge even banned it entirely, issuing a statement that would become almost as famous as the film itself. He said, "Russell's breasts hang like a thunderstorm over a summer landscape," a line so poetically scandalous it practically became a tagline for the movie. The uproar, of course, only fueled ticket sales. Hughes knew what he was doing. Every protest, every ban, and every angry letter made audiences want to see the Outlaw even more. Lines stretched around blocks, and theaters that dared to show it reported sellouts night after night. Critics largely trashed it, calling it slow and poorly paced, but the public didn't care. They weren't there for plot or pacing. They were there to see what Hollywood was trying so desperately to hide. Jane Russell, for her part, would go on to become a Hollywood icon, but she never quite understood what all the fuss was about. In later interviews, she admitted that the entire controversy seemed silly to her. Hughes's obsession with her figure may have been engineered for shock value, but it worked. Russell was immortalized as a symbol of Hollywood's rebellion against censorship, and Hughes walked away with a financial victory that proved, once and for all, controversy sells. The Outlaw might not be remembered as a masterpiece of Western cinema, but its impact is undeniable. It was more than just a film. It was a calculated spectacle designed to provoke, to scandalize, and to sell tickets. Howard Hughes didn't just make a movie, he made history. And Jane Russell didn't just become a star, she became a legend. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Howard Hughes was a marketing genius, or did he simply exploit controversy for profit? And what do you think of Jane Russell's role in all of it? Let us know in the comments below.